Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at how to properly trim and crumb coat your cake. So do well to follow me in this video step by step so that yours can come out more perfect than mine. Now this is my unwrapped cake. Make sure to always use your cling film to wrap your cake once it has cooled down to retain moisture, because if you leave it out for a while, you're going to see your cake is going to be slightly hardened and you don't want that. So my cake is still very soft, as you can see, and I love cakes like this. Now what you're going to do, as you can see in the video, is firstly trim the top side of the cake so that your cake can be leveled. You are going to trim that to level your cake before turning it to trim the slightly browned part beneath your cake. And because we are working with 2 layers of cakes, we're going to do it for this slice or this layer of cake too. So as you can see, we are turning our cake table turner and we are cutting our cake. So what you should do is to position your hand horizontally from your cake and make sure you don't move. So what I do, because I have a table turner, is that I just put my knife into the cake and I turn the table turner, and because the cake is soft, it's just going to be cutting at a perfect circle, and that's what you want, and you see that everything will come out straight as you need it to be. Now for this next step, because we won't be lifting our cake off the board for this next step, so we'll have to apply our buttercream to the cake board to hold our cake down while we further trim the cake to make it perfectly circular. After placing your first layer of your cake, you are going to make sure that you apply a thin layer of buttercream frosting. If you have cherries or anything that you also want to further add to this, or caramel, then you're going to add it now after you've smoothened out the buttercream on the first layer of the cake. And just so that you know, for noting purposes, if you want to add anything extra like caramel or whatever, just be sure to do your cake, because if you are going to deliver your cake and there's caramel or whatever that is slippery in between your cake, just know that you are not going to deliver that cake well. It's going to fall off inside the cake box because it's going to slide off. So if you're going to put anything like that, make sure to dowel your cake and dowel it properly. I will make a separate video on doweling cakes, how you can properly dowel your cakes so that they can stay and stand properly. Look at that beautiful cake layer. Now after you've applied whatever you want to apply in between your cake layers, you're going to place the second layer on top. If you're going for a third layer, you just repeat the step. So now I am trimming my cake by the side to cut off every excess so that we have a perfectly round cake, so that when we decorate, it's going to come out beautiful and fine. Now this step is more tricky. If you're not used to trimming or trimming cakes, you might most likely, or you will definitely make mistakes in this step. But if you're slow, if you're gentle, if you're careful, your mistakes will be very minimal. There's no need to rush, because if it's your first time, take your time. If you know you've done it before and you didn't get it perfectly, for your next time, take your time also. So you're going to hold your knife at a perfectly vertical angle to your cake, and you're going to be moving in an upward and downward movement to trim your cake. Now we're done with trimming our cakes and we want to crumb coat our cakes. What does crumb coating mean? As you can see from this video, we're using a very thin layer of buttercream frosting to seal in our cake crumbs. After you have trimmed your cake, you will see crumbs everywhere, and you want to avoid those crumbs from staining your final cake design. So you crumb coat to lock in those crumbs into the cake, so that while you're decorating your final decoration, you would have a perfect buttercream frosting or coloring as a perfect finish. If there are crumbs on your buttercream frosting for its final finish, it's going to look somehow. Like if you've had this experience before, you would know what I'm saying. It's not going to look neat. And as a perfectionist myself, I will be so unpleased with the cake, and I know you will too. So you have to crumb coat your cake to protect yourself from such experience, and to protect your cake from any form of ugly look. Let me just use that word, ugly look, at the end of the day. So we're going to apply this thin layer over every part of our cake, on top and by the side. And some people, once they're done with crumb coating, they go ahead and put the cake into their fridge just to strengthen that thin layer on the cake very well. But if you don't have a fridge, or you're not using a fridge like me, you can still go ahead immediately to apply the final coating of your buttercream frosting on this thin layer of crumb coat. There's nothing that's going to go bad. As long as you apply this crumb coating layer, everything will go perfect. Whether you put it in the fridge or not, everything is going to be perfect. This cake was a sign out cake, and our customer requested for like a vintage style of cake, and she said the person she was baking the cake for loved the color blue. So that's why we're going to, or I planned on using different shades of blue. But this video particularly is not about cake decoration, so I will post a separate video for the decoration, or how I came to like finish this cake. If you're interested, you can check out the video. So I will put how to decorate a vintage cake, and if you want to know how to decorate a vintage cake, you can go ahead and check that video. But this video in particular will just cover crumb coating and trimming of our cakes. And as you can see, we're perfectly done with crumb coating our cakes. Our crumbs have been locked in, and for any extra crumbs on the cake board or around the cake, we're going to use our tool, as you can see, to remove it, like I'm doing here. Do you see that? Because there's buttercream on that tool, it's going to magnet or gum every cake crumb to it. And then see how clean the board is right now. So you do this and you clean every extra crumb to avoid your crumbs from staining the finished look of your cake. So with that said, we're done with our video. Thanks for watching, and please do well to subscribe. Subscription is totally free. Just click the subscription button and turn on the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we post new videos. Alright, bye.